Welcome to r/surviving infidelity. Here's another tale of woe from a wife whose husband did her wrong. Here's what she has to say. I think I'm finally done. Very long post, sorry. Betrayed spouse here. In August, I discovered the shocking truth that my husband of almost 20 years has been having a physical/emotional/love affair with another, much younger woman. The affair went on for 3.5 years. The news came as a complete and utter shock to me. But on the other hand, in hindsight it isn't so surprising. The thing is, ever since we met each other, there's been an imbalance in our affection. I have always come last in his mind. I fell head over heels in love with him, but he did not completely return the feelings. He was openly, vocally critical about my appearance, and never balanced the criticism by mentioning any good points I might have had. For the record, I'm definitely not unattractive, I know it, and have also been told so, and complimented many times. For a number of years, he also never displayed interest in things I was doing, never asking about those things, or getting involved, although I begged him to be willing to do things, any things, we could do together. He basically acted rather cold and dispassionate towards me most of the time. But still, he liked me enough for us to get married, and I truly loved him. Not long after we met, he became obsessed with watching soccer. He jumped into it fully. This included watching it full time on TV, of course, recording games on video, if there were two conflicting games at the same time, and watching one later. It also included holding season tickets and attending all games played by the local team here in a US city, where he did everything possible to be involved, including following them to matches out of town. He also got extremely involved in English Premier League soccer. At first, I was interested in it too, and I was supportive. For example, one year early on, for his birthday, I surprised him with a trip to London together, tickets to watch his favorite teams play live. That was fun, and both of us enjoyed it. My interest in soccer wasn't as big as his was. His interest and involvement were extreme, and grew into an obsession, where it became all soccer all the time, when he was not at work. And he didn't care whether or not we shared this interest, or whether I was willing or able to keep up with that level of involvement. So, it stopped being something we could share. Coupled with his full-time job, there was zero time left over for other activities, going to a movie, or other activity together, for instance, with me, us, or anyone else. Then he went on a trip to Mexico without me, to watch one of his favorite teams play. I wasn't invited. And other than that London trip, and a couple of other trips that I paid for, he wouldn't go on trips with me. Not dates either, or any other activities. After a few years of the soccer obsession, while he showed little to no interest or attention to me or our relationship, I began to feel quite unhappy about being ignored, passed over time after time, and seeming so unimportant to him. I finally reached a moment where I said, "That's it. Do whatever you like. But I don't want to be part of an unbalanced relationship in which you matter a lot to me, and I matter little, or not at all to you." So, I decided I wanted out. But he didn't want our relationship to end. For once he worked hard, for a while, on trying to put me and us first. And that helped, at least for a while. But then, not too long after the soccer obsession receded, he discovered a new obsession/passion. And this new obsession was one I could not really participate in much. My husband had studied to be a musician, a cellist, in college and grad school. But then, before we met, he decided not to pursue music and went to med school instead, becoming an eye doctor. For the first 10 years I knew him, he barely touched a cello or any other musical instrument. He worked in a demanding 6 to 7 day a week job. But suddenly, after he dropped the soccer, he rediscovered the cello. Then he decided to join an orchestra. Then another. And then another. Then yet another. Plus playing in the pit orchestra for musicals. It got to a point where, in addition to his more than full-time job, he was absent from home all day and night, every single day, except occasionally one night here and there, doing his musical activities. Meanwhile I was busy raising 5 kids, combined his and mine, working part-time and writing a book, and I did have some friends and activities of my own. But I was lonesome a lot, and I wanted to spend at least some time together with my chosen life partner, with the man I loved, whose company I enjoyed above that of others. I did try getting involved in his orchestras, volunteering to sell tickets and/or usher, but I wasn't encouraged to do it. When at home, which he wasn't very often, he grew increasingly cold, distant, disdainful, and removed, even more than he had ever been before. He also began going on month-long trips all over the world as part of a humanitarian aid group. I would have loved doing something like that together, but he said spouses weren't allowed. The kids grew up and moved out, one by one. Mostly, I was left at home, alone most of the time. This was not my vision of how life with a partner was supposed to be. But if I ever tried to bring up the issue, he would shut down the conversation. But I still loved him. I loved his company, whenever others weren't around especially. More and more cello rehearsals and performances for him, more and more time all alone with no one for me. It wasn't fun. I tried to stay active, but I still did get lonely a lot. Then D-Day happened, and I accidentally discovered the affair he'd been having for 3 to 5 years with another cellist, 15 years younger than he is, and of course younger than I am. It was awful, nightmarish, because I had already asked him a few times if he was involved with someone else, and he'd always emphatically deny it. I discovered thousands of texts between the two of them. Gushing, romantic, loving, demonstrative, over the top, enthusiastic, complimentary, effusive texts, in which he praised her incessantly, and frequently talked about how much he loved her, and how devastatingly beautiful she was. I've met her, she isn't. Since D-Day a few months ago, it seemed as if we made some progress towards possible reconciliation. He's been in therapy, for the first time in his life. He's been very contrite. Says he loves me, will do anything to make this marriage work. Cries a lot, so do I, of course. I thought things might be going okay until yesterday. Yes. Yesterday I made a discovery that feels like it sets everything back to almost square one. Basically, after D-Day he showed a great interest, for the first time in our relationship, in having passionate hugs with me. And we did have passionate hugs, quite a lot. That continued for a couple months. Then it kind of petered out. Eventually it stopped. Since I believed that maybe one reason he hadn't wanted to have passionate hugs with me for a long while was that I was unattractive to him. I had gone on a rigorous exercise and weight loss program with a personal trainer. Lost 30 pounds, got toned up, etc. I had bought sexy lingerie that he said he really liked. Now, I feel that I was probably doing the pick-me dance. But at the time it seemed to work. He became interested at last in having passionate hugs with me, for a change. And I always enjoyed passionate hugs with him. Always wanted him, even all that time he was distant and unavailable. So, I was thrilled. But he has erectile dysfunction, and basically can't have passionate hugs very often. If he has passionate hugs to orgasm, he usually has to wait a few days in order to fully be able to recycle. So, I began to dress sexy and keep everything shaved, bathed, lotions, and ready to go, so I would be attractive to him if and when he was ready. It's a lot of work and takes a considerable amount of time and effort to do that. But I did it and lived in hope. I chose not to initiate because I figured he would do that when he was ready. Okay, I know, stupid, right? But for several weeks, despite my bathed, shaved, ready body ready, and waiting for him to be ready and able, he's shown no interest in having passionate hugs with me. Today I found out that he has indeed been having, although not with me. No, he's been having passionate hugs with himself, with pornography, and all the effort and work I've been expending to stay ready, willing, able, and attractive, all for nothing. And, failing a mistress, he prefers to have passionate hugs with his hand, rather than with me. I feel extremely rejected. It feels like the last straw. Cumulatively, it's the final humiliation for me. I'm ready to split up with him. I'm ready to dissolve this joke of marriage. I'm hurt beyond measure. Here's the first comment. I'm sorry this man took 20 years of your life and strung you along through a sham. As I'm sure you know, you did nothing wrong and seem to be a loyal and devoted wife and mother. I know it hurts, but he lied about who he was. It's not your fault for believing. I see you found your strength, and I'm wishing you the best of the best moving forward. It's amazing how far some people, soon to be ex-husband, will go to disconnect from their own lives they chose for themselves. I'm sure he doesn't have a coherent reason for his behavior despite going into his 40s. Someone's going to appreciate you being smooth as a dolphin. He wants to go blank himself. He can go right ahead. Here's the next comment. Leave him. He doesn't deserve you. While you were raising his children, he was around the world having fun. WTF. I know it hurts, and it will hurt for a long time, but less and less with time passing. I was married for 25 years, and the last few were dead bedroom. Throughout my marriage I was always shaved, lotioned, dressed up, lingerie, etc. So, when dead bedroom happened, I was baffled. He started getting involved with his hobby more and more, started traveling more. I was lonely. Desperately lonely. Long story short, last year at this time, I discovered that he's having a 5-year affair. She's 23 years younger than him, me. Along those discoveries I found out that he was cheating on me most of our marriage. So, I left. I didn't even try to reconcile. I left everything. What I can tell you now, after this horrible year of hurt, pain, emotional turmoil, pandemic, finding myself, etc. I'm less lonely now. I live with my kid, without the partner, than when I was with my husband. This year was the hardest year of my life, and yet I'm happier than I was in a long time. Leave him. Find your happiness without that narcissist. Mine is narcissist too. It's going to be tough. You will cry, rage, be angry, sad, but you will not be lonely, even if you live alone. If you need an ear or a shoulder, PM me. Hugs. Here's the next comment. You let him live his dreams and rekindle abandoned pursuits while you remained supportive and persevered raising the kids. That comes with juggling stressful family problems above your head. Then after you find out he was cheating, you forgave, like a godly mother would in spite of the denials, then took effort in taking care of yourself for him. Even then you believed your perceived unattractiveness was the problem, that what you did was still inadequate. You changed for him. No one's going to question your faith and devotion after that point. He threw away a great thing that others search for all their lives. The pick-me dance never ends, and when you finally break things off, even if the pick-me roles become reversed, and he tries to win you back, after he realizes what he lost, you've given him more than enough chances. He will not feel as hurt as you do. I wish healing your way. Here's the next comment. I'm sorry OP, but having read through your very descriptive and comprehensive narrative, I could only be happy that you have finally found the resolve to leave your shallow husk of a husband. He seems to have spent his entire adult life pursuing his dreams and hobbies. What he was actually doing was avoiding you and his parental responsibilities. It was also, of course, a perfect cover for his extramarital activities, which you say, and I have absolutely no doubt, went on throughout your marriage. I have one question. You mentioned that you have 5 children together. His and yours. I deduce from this that you were a blended family with no biological children from your marriage to him. I'm guessing that you are now late 40s, early 50s. It matters not. You have lots and lots of years ahead of you. Plenty of time to have a whole new life with a new man who will love, cherish, and appreciate you as you deserve. Please don't let your ex guilt trip you into getting back with him. He had his chances, and many of them. He blew every single one. A saint could not have made more effort in your marriage than you did. Reading about your struggles throughout your marriage, and what you did to try to keep it alive, or to breathe life into the corpse of it. My heart goes out to the many men reading your words. Men who have been very badly betrayed by their degenerate spouses. They must be thinking, if only my wife had put a fraction of that effort and commitment in. Take your time now, OP. Make sure that you get the best lawyer available and get everything due to you. Don't settle for less. You are in excellent physical shape. All you need to do once you are free of Wonder Boy is to get your head straight, and you will be fully ready for life's next great adventure. I wish you every happiness and success going forward. You thoroughly deserve both. Here's the next comment. You are more resilient than most people I have met. I'm in awe of how hard you work for others, and I wish to ask you to take some time for yourself now. This man is not the one you're supposed to be with. If he can compliment and adore and fuss over this younger lady, but not you, then it is no one's issue but his. You sound like an amazing, caring human, and I hope you spend the rest of your life adventuring, feeling beautiful and free. Maybe try the humanitarian volunteering that you seemed interested in. Good luck, OP. Please don't go back to this man. He does not deserve you or your forgiveness. Here's the next comment. Thank you for your beautiful post. I'm so very sorry. I too know what it's like to be desperately in love with someone, only to find out that behind the facade of depression and obsessions he has been, for 20 years, ambivalent at best and hateful at worst. All I ever wanted was to make him happy. But what I got was suicide threats as he was kicking me out. The knowledge that he left me for no one specific, but for the promise of a much younger partner, for porn, for finally being the best man he can be. It takes so long to truly understand what a narcissist is. That the person you love most in the world is incapable of caring for another person. That nurturing their broken heart is truly fruitless. As someone who speaks a non-native language, I compare it to having an accent. If you didn't get the exposure at a young enough age, no amount of encouragement and interactions can give you the ability to speak naturally. No amount of loss or pain. You can hire coaches and make some progress. But in the end, especially under stress, you invariably fail. Again, I'm so very sorry. I wish I had something hopeful and uplifting to say other than that I think it is possible to let go of even the most treasured parts of myself, such as him and my love for him, and find other beauty in this world. At the very least, I try to go back and understand what gave me the ability to love this way. Maybe there is still a different way. Here's the next comment. 20 years were not wasted as you have your beautiful children. It is time to put aside the memory of your time with him and move on. Any day after this point spent trying to force him to be a good spouse will be time wasted. Get your finances in order, contact a divorce attorney, and start reclaiming your life. It may help to get into some good counseling to discover who you are as a person and to find constructive ways to deal with this hurt and bitter betrayal. Do not let this man ruin you as a person, or ruin you for any other man who you may meet in the future. Know that you are a priority to your children and your family, and that it is possible to not only survive infidelity, but to also strive after it. Hang in there, hun. Thanks for watching.